जगन्नाथ बलेश्वर की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरुदेव टैगोर, हरि बोल. Yes, Prabhu. So let us start by taking the blessings of the Lord, the Guru. Om Gyan Dasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vachyata Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing with the Bhagavad Gita series. We started from yesterday. Yesterday was the first day. Chapter 1 from Bhagavad Gita, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And today's shloka will be second, 1.2. Sanjaya Vacha Drishtva Pandavanikam Vyudham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravit. Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Hare Krishna. You can stop. The screen be there, no problem. The verse is there. It's okay. Yeah. So, welcome all of you, Prabhu Matajis. Thank you very much for joining. And the Mangalati time to hear Krishna is very, very auspicious. So, we will discuss this verse. It's very. And today's verse is 1.2. See, from first verse to the 11th verse, it is the preparation for war. And this first verse which you saw today is Dritarashtra's inquiry, where he said, after my sons and the sons of Pandava assembled in the place of pilgrimage, that is Dharmakshetra, desiring to fight, what will they do? They are fighting at Kurukshetra. And in the first verse, purport, Srila Prabhupada has given a secret. And what is the secret? 4 things he has said. How to study Bhagavad Gita, number 1. Number 2, the example of clear understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Number 3, the benefits of such study. And number 4, the specific standard of Bhagavad Gita. So I request all of you to go to the first verse. It is a secret which provides how to study Bhagavad Gita, right? See, the Dhritarashtra's inquiry, it reveals his doubtful and fearful mind. Number 1, he's partial to his sons, Kurus, right? The Duryodhana and sons. And number 2, he's worried and fearful of the influence of the holy place at Kurukshetra, which is a place of pilgrimage. So you should understand the purity of the holy place is that it has the potency to change even a man with bad qualities. And also Krishna and his pure devotees who follow Dharma, they were also present in Kurukshetra. So in the second verse, up to the 11th verse, Duryodhana's actions are described and it reveals his diplomacy and inner fear. And who spoke this second verse? Sanjaya. First verse was spoken by Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra, that is the only verse he spoke in the whole of Bhagavad 700 verses. So Sanjaya speaks the second verse. See, by the mercy of the spiritual master, Sanjaya's spiritual master, who is he? Srila Vyasadeva. Sanjaya was staying with Dhritarashtra in Hastinapur. And from there, where the Kurukshetra, which is in Haryana, and this is in Delhi, he could visualize what was happening in Kurukshetra. So the main point to understand is that if not for the mercy of a spiritual master, we cannot see anything materially or spiritually. Chakshur unmilitam yena. Guru force opens our eyes, which are blinded by darkness of ignorance. So we must always remember the mercy showered upon us by our spiritual master, and we should remain grateful forever. See, Dhritarashtra feared that the Kauravas might lose their kingdom. You know the meaning of Dhritarashtra? Dhritarashtra means one who was eager to grab the nation. Dritarashtra, grab the nation. Now, like him, we are also. What are we? We are Drita money, Drita house, Drita spouse. So instead of being Drita for these things, we should behave like Lord Brahma and become Drita Hari. So in Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 6th chapter, 34th verse, Lord Brahma says to Narada Muni, he says, "Oh Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Hari with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false. Nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter." Such a wonderful thing. Just caught hold of the Supreme Lord. So the second verse reflects the nature of Duryodhana. Seeing the large army arranged by the Pandavas, Duryodhana was amazed how it was possible for them to get such an army. Because instead they say Arjuna wanted only the Krishna, no? Such an army, in spite of all the problems they underwent. The most important point we should understand is those who are diplomatic, crooked, and angry, they are always fearful. Just think about it. Out of fear of loss of prestige, power, and so-called positions in the society, one exhibits these qualities. That is angry and all those things, right? So whereas simple and straightforward people are fearless. They don't have any hankering for others' property or position. And with great compassion, they feel for the pains of others. That's why Chanakya Pandita says in the Niti Shastra, Matravat paradhareshu paradraveshu loshtravat atmavat sarvabhuteshu yapashyati sa panditaha. He says, one who considers another's wife as his mother, another's possessions as a lump of dirt, and treats all other living beings as he would himself, is considered to be learned. You know one thing? An attached person never smiles at anyone, whereas a detached person smiles freely at everyone. See, every child can become a great devotee of the Lord, provided the parents give the impression of the same to the child from the beginning. Kaumaram, that is right at the age of 5. So children learn a lot by observing what the parents and elders do. See, our attachment and affection to the child, it should not lead to the degradation of their character. There's a very famous proverb in English, spare the rod and spoil the child. So in order to inculcate good behavior in the children, there need to be a right mix of love and strictness. See, the lives of great devotees like Parikshit Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, they're examples of how the impression they had in the beginning later helped them to take to serious devotional service. So here, unfortunately, Dhritarashtra was spiritually blind. He was physically blind and also spiritually blind right from the beginning. And the same traits were picked up by his children. So they were seeing him, right? So Srila Prabhupada mentions the purport in this verse that Duryodhana was quite fit to be a politician. And what do the politicians do? We see every day out, right? When there is a need, politicians can become friends even with their worst enemies or with people with whom they are not in good terms. Just to achieve power and position, they can do anything and everything. There is no niti in Rajaniti, no morals, in politics, right? So as the saying goes, empty vessels make the most noise. So Duryodhana, who is devoid of good qualities and real knowledge, approaches Dronacharya. And we find here that Dritarashtra, because of not taking shelter of elders or spiritual master, had become blind both spiritually and materially. He not only destroyed his life, but by sowing seeds of envy in the hearts of his children. Right from birth, the Kauravas, they nurtured this envy right from childhood. And that ended the fatal Kurukshetra war. So you can see, this purport. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision, he said. So, see, Dhritarashtra knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion. And he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. Now, still he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage. In Sanjaya, he could understand his motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield, right? So Sanjaya wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king, and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son, Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief, Dronacharya, to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. So Duryodhana was therefore quite fit to be a politician. But Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer, that's what Prabhu says, could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Stop here. Thank you very much, Mataji, for giving this opportunity. And it's so nice to hear this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam early in the morning. It really lifts us up. We are always charging the mobile, right? This is a charge for all of us. And this whole day, we're so blissful and happy. So please recite these verses. As far as possible, try to memorize these verses, so that in the old age also, your memory will be sharp. Because you're doing physical exercise, you're going to the gym, do a lot of things, right? But if you give this exercise to the mind also, that will also be perfect. And will be very nice in the old age. Because last point, all these senses, the eyes, nose, ears, all these senses are given by Krishna, right? And if you use these senses for Krishna, for his pleasure, then he will protect it. 100% guaranteed. But if you don't use it, then in the old age you will be suffering. So please use it and memorize the verses and always recite this verse. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.